I'm on my cousin's floor in her house in Melbourne, Australia, so don't mind me in the background. I want to talk about something super important today and something that's like the number one question that comes up with my clients in this relationship work that we do together. So they often come and say, my relationship is dying, it's falling apart. I'm not sure if it's me, if it's them, if it's the relationship. Like, what is it? Who is it? And what an awesome question. And there's like 70 different ways I could probably answer that. But the most important thing to know is that you have to resolve your own trauma before you can get clarity, before you can really know intuitively and in your heart and your soul what the answer really is. Like if you should stay to work on it, if you should leave them, or whatever other choice there is. Because even if they have their own unresolved trauma and it's showing up in the relationship, they might be yelling at you often. They might be leaving the house for hours without telling you where they're going or when they're coming back. They may blame you. They may be doing a lot of things that are hurtful, and simply just not supporting you in your dreams. There's really that's important. Yes, that's hurtful. But even if you blame them, even if you say like, my husband doesn't support me, my husband is yelling at me, my partner is just being really horrible and not understanding me, like blaming them isn't going to change the situation. Blaming them isn't going to give you clarity. And even though they may have behaviors that are unexcusable, even though you totally deserve more love, more respect, more admiration because you're amazing, it still won't change. Blaming them still won't change what's actually happening, and it won't give you clarity. So I have a client, for example, who we've been working through some deep trauma together, and she got divorced years ago, like 20-ish years ago. And now that we're getting to the end of our work together and everything is cleared and she's this amazing new woman, she's like, oh, shit, maybe we could have worked that out. Like maybe I didn't have to leave him. Maybe, like I didn't try everything that I could have tried. I didn't try everything I could have tried back then. Like I just left because it was hard and it was difficult and I just assumed that it was over. And now that the fog has cleared and she's released her trauma and she's this, again, like this new woman, basically, it's her new normal. She's realizing that that didn't have to happen because actually when they got married, when they started their relationship, they were happy. They were amazing together. Yeah, there were fights here and there. There were some disagreements, but they got married for a reason. And it's like this stuff that we trap down and down and down in our bodies, that all this hurt and trauma that's piled up, it completely changes and fogs our vision. And we don't get a say anymore because our body then takes over, our nervous system takes over, and our primal selves, our protection mode takes over to the point where we can't make a rational decision because when you're in that space, the higher functioning part of your brain shuts down. You don't get to have rational decisions anymore, and you just act from protection mode because your nervous system, number one priority is to survive. And if you make decisions from that space, from a space where you have unresolved trauma that is controlling you, that is making you feel really reactive, really frozen, really shut down in your relationship, unable to communicate, getting really angry really fast, then that's like, first of all, that's obviously not healthy for your relationship. And also, it's not a place where you can even answer this question, is it me or is it my partner? You do need to resolve your trauma first. so that you don't end up regretting leaving or this relationship falling apart that, at once you felt that you were soulmates, you felt that you were perfect together, and you got those happy wedding photos where, like maybe even before the wedding, like you, at some point, this worked out. This was the love of your life. And it's especially important for, for those of you who have kids. I don't have kids, but as a child with parents who fought all the time, is actually I'm in a quite strange situation because my parents fought all the time. It's a huge trauma of mine, the things that I've seen, that I witnessed, and actually they seem kind of okay. Like now that they're in their 60s, they seem kind of happy together almost. And it's just interesting. Like, it's interesting. They worked it out somehow. I still have, like, my body still has a hard time believing that. I'm still like, sometimes the little kid where I'm like, no, it's not. They still hate each other. But that, like, a good example that even as much as your relationship is falling apart, I wouldn't make a rash decision yet. You can't answer that question if it's you or them. And you do need to resolve your trauma first. And if this is something that you want to explore further, like if you want to understand how what trauma, like I get onto relationship reviews with people. It's my free relationship review where they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that was connected to the way that I cannot communicate and the way I shut out my husband now. If you want to find out what trauma, or if you already know how the trauma is stored in your body, how it's controlling you today, and what steps you need to take to break that, to break free of your past controlling you, to access and release your trauma and become your new normal, so that you can find clarity on how to have an amazing, loving, lasting relationship, group name, send me a message. Private message me, let me know that you're interested in meeting for a free 30-minute relationship review. There's no obligation to work with me. We will just create your map from where you are right now to where you want to be. And I am 95% sure that the clarity that you gain just from the review will be life-changing for you. And I just absolutely love doing these reviews and seeing the looks and the responses in people's bodies, like, whoa, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what it is. So send me a private message, and I cannot wait to see you move. Bye.